Hey, all you CLO users. So today we are going to go through our 7.1 webinar. So excited. So we on the CLO team have worked really hard on 7.1 to make these features really helpful for you all and make your time in CLO even easier. So we're going to dive on in and show you some of these great new features. As some of you may know, my name is Phoebe and I'm going to be responsible for our journey here through this webinar. I hope you guys all really like it. If you have any questions, we have a live chat going, or if you see this at a later time, you can write anything in our comment section. Someone from our CLO team will get back to you. So let's dive on in and have some fun learning. So our first key feature we're going to show is the update to our UI. We have added in a new tab in our object browser called the Trim tab. This will allow users to see all of their trims within the project file, along with making it easier to edit within CLO. So all of the workflows for adding in trims stays the same, but we've added a few. One is you can go to the Add button there. And here that will bring up all of your trims or all of your files from your computer. And you can bring in any trims from your computer from there. Know that OBJ or trim or FBX files will work best for trims. Then you can select your file and bring it into CLO. Once you've brought it in, you'll see that pop-up window, and then it will show up in your object browser. Now, from your object browser, you can just drag and drop it into your 3D window. Easy as that. And you can continue to edit and adjust this as normal using the gizmo tool, using the glue icon, and placing it wherever you would like to see it in your 3D window. I'm going to just fiddle around with this a little bit more. You also can copy and paste within your 3D window. A lot of you might already know that. But what's nice is if you copy and paste, it will stay in that same trim style. So what you do to that style will now affect both of these trims, the buckles, basically. Now you can also, though, select a style and copy it, just like you can with fabrics or buttons or zippers or anything like that. So I can hit copy, and here I'll copy that style. Now that I have that copy, though, I don't have a copy in the 3D window because I've just copied the style. If I wanted to bring that style into the 3D window, I would have to drag and drop. I'm just going to delete it. Now, let's say, though, I wanted to delete one of the copies that I brought in, or at least see them or something. Know that you can still see all of your trims in your Scene tab. Great, right? So you have your materials, and now you have this great section trim, and you can see both of these buckles there. Now, when I click on it, it will select it, and I can see which one, and I can even click on it and hit delete if I wanted to. We have updated our avatar editor UI in 7.1 to make it even easier and more user-friendly. I'm excited. So here you will still be able to access the avatar editor through the top menu bar, avatar, and then avatar editor. Now, though, the window will replace the 2D window, so you can switch back and forth. Nice. Also, you can pop this window out if you want to and have it as a separate window if you'd like. At this top part, you can switch between default, custom, or standard sizing. What's nice about the standard sizing and also default is you can also switch between avatar sizes, like I'm doing right here. So we have all of our standard sizes here. For men's, this also works for women, kids, any avatars we have in CLO with sizing already. And I can do that as well with default. If you also have customs, you can load all of that stuff too. So it's pretty great. You can just switch it through here in your avatar editor. You also can bring in avatars through this open button here. And I can open up and bring in the avatars that I'd like if I had any custom ones. I can also reset so that everything's reset to what it was originally. And I can also save my avatar that I just created in here really quickly and easily. Now we also have this total body box. Now this is pretty much the same as before. We have added some stuff, but you still have your total height, high point, and inseam options, and all of your unit options of measurements as well. Pretty great. And what we also have is with width, we have still chest circumference, but we've also added in weight. So weight is a new addition here. And what you can do is you can input your avatar's weight that you'd like, and you can do this in both kilograms or pounds. I'm going to use pounds since I'm American and I just know pounds. And I can input any weight that I'd like. And I can switch back to kilograms if I'd like. Now, what you might have noticed is when I switched to weight, below this total body shapes all got activated. So these will allow you to quickly change between different types of body shapes that we see in human beings. So you can switch between these different body shapes. These are conventional top 5 body shapes that we know of. And notice though, if I switch back to chest circumference, they are deactivated. So these total body shapes will only work with weight. They do work with both men and women. They do not work with any other avatars such as kids, but they will work with men and women avatars. So since they do work with both men and women avatars, let's switch this over to a woman's avatar, I think. So I'm going to go back to my avatar menu and bring in a woman avatar. So again, here we have our total body. We have a few more options with the width, but they're the same. The new addition is weight. And again, once I select weight, I have my total body shape activated. Again, I can click through, and what this is going to do is it's just going to get you to that body shape a little bit faster. So here in details, I have a new section, simple. And as you can also see with the simple, we have circumference and length. Also, we have upper body and lower body. Now, the total shape will still work with this simple details section. And I can still change out these measurements as well. So I can change my measurements here to be different if I need to or anything, and adjust around and continue to use my total body shapes as well. However, if I decide to change this to basic or advanced dress form, you'll see that the total body shape is deactivated. What you'll also see though is we've rearranged our detail section. So we've made it a little bit more organized and easier for you to understand what to adjust first and then second. So we've split this up by upper and lower, along with circumference and length. So this is going to be seen in every single detail section. So we have that new organization. It is always best to add in all your circumference measurements at once, then all of your length measurements at once and everything, for both upper and lower, and then upper and lower for the other section. You still can see all of the measurements you'd like that we use to create the avatar. And also this will still be seen in kids avatars as well. So this new organization will be seen in kids avatars. However, as mentioned, the total body shape will not be seen. A very exciting new feature that has been added to 7.1 is the auto arrange feature. This will take simple DXF patterns and automatically arrange them onto the avatar, making your workflow a little bit faster and easier. So first, I will bring in a top DXF, and it's best to apply symmetry to all of this. So I'm just going to select my pattern pieces and apply some symmetry, as you can see here, and then go to my Auto 3D Arrange tool. Look at that. I'll select that, and now a pop-up window will come up, and I'll just hit Proceed. Now, CLO will automatically arrange these pattern pieces on. Now, what's nice is I can go back a step if I'd like. So if something wasn't arranged correctly, I can just simply go back, or I can also go forward some steps. If I'm happy with how it's arranged, I can just select OK. And it's as simple as that, automatically arranged. Let's do this on some bottoms, right? And that'll be really amazing. So let's bring in a DXF for my bottoms. I'll hit OK. Again, it's best when pattern pieces have symmetry to them. So apply symmetry when you can. I've applied my symmetry, and now I'm going to, again, Auto 3D Arrange. Hit Proceed, and it's going to arrange for me. Now, we're looking pretty good, but my waistband's a little bit off. I can go back or I can hit Next. I'm just going to hit OK. And I'm still going to use those great arrangement points that we have within CLO that makes arranging super easy as well. And I'm just going to select my pattern pieces and place them with my arrangement points. And again, I've arranged this pattern in such a faster speed than ever before. A highly awaited feature within CLO 7.1 is our new texture generator. You can seamlessly generate texture maps with scans or captured images and check the results in real time within the 3D window without ever having to leave CLO. So let's dive on in and learn how to use this. So first we'll go into our object browser, create a new fabric, and right next to that fabric, there's a new button, and that is our texture generator button. So you can click on that and you'll see your texture generator. Now let's just quickly go into how this is all structured and looked at. So you have a top window and a bottom window. So this top window here is actually going to bring in what the scanned image you brought in. Now the bottom window is going to show you the preview. Then you've got your open save and all of that at the bottom, and then all of your information about that image at the top. I'm going to just go into open and bring in one of the images that I have scanned. So I'll bring in this stripe and open that up. Now what I can do is it's pretty close up, so I can zoom in and out of this window by simply putting my cursor, hovering on top of it, and using that middle mouse button to zoom in and out. As we all know, 3 mouse buttons are best within CLO. So I'll just zoom in and out within here to see this closer or farther away. Now I can check my size of the image at the top here. So I can check the image size, and also I can check the pixels. So I can make sure that it's in the right resolution and everything that I wanted here. Great. Now that everything is all set and the aspect's correct and the ratio isn't broken or anything, I can start to select my sections of my pattern of the image that I selected. This is the fun part. So I'll just click and drag and create a marquee box. And once I have the size and area that I like within my image, make sure that it's big enough to actually get a repeat, but you also want the smallest repeat possible. So I'll create this one to start. Again, I can zoom in and out. So I'll just use my middle mouse button and zoom out a little bit to see a little farther of the preview. This is a pretty good first try, honestly. Like, yes, it's thick and thin, not exactly what my repeat is, but I can check to see if it all lines up and everything using this grid here in this preview window, which is great. Or I can switch to my 2D window, quickly select my patterns and apply this fabric to my patterns. Here's the cool thing. Now that I've applied this fabric to my pattern pieces, everything I do now in my texture generator is going to show up in my 3D window. It's kind of exciting. Like, look at that. So if I want to edit or revise this selected area, all I have to do is create another marquee box. So I'm going to do that really quickly here. So again, I can just click once and drag and make another marquee box. Nope, don't really love that. Try again. All right, this is looking a little bit better. Now, let's say I want to revise a little bit more. Or I want to adjust this kind of more and not just like creating more marquees. Well, we have an equalize option. Now, what this is going to do is it's actually going to equalize the coloring of my repeat. So it's going to try to make sure that the contrast isn't as much. So like the two brightnesses start to equal out together. Hence, equalize. It can go all the way up to 1 and you can slowly increment it up. And it can go all the way down to 0. Now, let's say you had some creases when you scanned this image in, or it was getting cut off or something. We also have a great tool called the smooth tool. It's right next to equalize. Look at that. I personally did a great job scanning this, so there's no creases, so I don't need to use my smooth tool, but I could select that, and what it will do is it will smooth it out so that the weaves or the knit is like connecting better. There's another option. You can take all the power onto yourself, but know that with power comes responsibility. But you can quickly off to the right, you'll see there's a little icon. If I click this, I can switch to manual mode. Now here, when I switch to manual mode, I'll then have the power to actually create where the exact repeat and smoothness and everything that I want. So I can adjust these corners here, move those up and everything. If I don't like having all that power and responsibility, I can always just re-click off to that right and it'll become automatic again. And look at that. And you can kind of see that there's like all of those little boxes in between. That's CLO figuring out the right repeat. So like it's kind of slanting and tilting and all of that stuff. But it's doing a great job. Now, let's talk about fabric types a little bit. So first off, CLO has divided the texture types into 3 different categories. 1, solid fabrics with tiny regular weaves. 2, fabrics with regular large patterns, such as checks or stripes or polka dots, you know, like what we see here. And then 3, fabrics with irregular patterns, like geometric patterns or really complicated prints and stuff. They're fabulous and fun, but they're a little bit harder. The current fabric type is plain. Now, this works well with both solid fabrics and fabrics with regular patterns, as you can see. However, for fabrics that are irregular or specialized, we have fabric type options for that. Before we get into it, though, let me give you a good tip. Here's a fun fact. So it's best to make sure that you already have your normal map all set up before switching your fabric types. That's because the result of this image takes into account the normal map information as well. Here's another call out. For users who have scanners that create multiple maps, just know to bring in that whole fabric and stuff in, and it will also bring in all of those other maps as well. For users who don't, then you'll just have to add in those separately. And you can actually see that here. So here you can see off to the left that I have a diffuse map and a normal map. So if I wanted to, I can switch between those two different maps. See? Diffuse. Normal. Diffuse. Great, right? Now that I have that all set up, I can go into my fabric type. And for this, it would be suggested, since it's a large stripe, to change it to repeat pattern. Then I can add in and adjust and bring in this marquee box, and you can see the repeat and everything. You can see it's just as easy as before, and it works just as well as before. For those patterns that are a little bit more irregular, it's best to use random color pattern. See, right down there. But they all work fantastic together. Keep playing around. A little bit trial and error might be needed, but we love feedback. Now, let's say I want to save this image. I can just go down, hit save, pop-up window will come up, and then we will have the option of diffuse and normal map, since those are the two maps that are already in there. Depending on how many maps that are brought in, you can save all of those as well. Once I'm happy, I can check off the maps that I want. I can then hit OK. And then CLO will save those maps. I'll just have to name them and stuff. Now this is the fun part. So now I'll name this, I'll hit save. And there they are. My diffuse and normal map saved. And it'll even call it like striped 1, diffuse, and then striped normal map. Great, right? Now that I'm all happy and everything, and I've done such a fabulous job, I can just hit apply and close. And it will apply to my fabric like so. And I'll see it in my 3D window still. You will now be able to express the zipper teeth as an object rather than a texture, which will allow for more realism within 3D renders and images. So all you have to do is select your zipper tape and teeth, and then you can select the teeth, and then in the property editor, you can switch from texture to OBJ. It's as simple as that, right? Then you can switch between the tape or the teeth, and you can decide if you want it to be metal or plastic or anything. You can do the overall effect, or you can adjust them separately. And you can continue to change color or anything like that and adjust. Moving into the render window, I'll then be able to actually see a really big change within this, as you can see here. We have changed our grade review mode to become an editor. So this is going to make your workflow between grading and review a little bit more seamless. So I can go into editor, grade review, and now I can switch between my 2D, my 3D window, and my review editor. Look at that. Switch between the two. This is going to be great because now I can make edits in my 2D window here, and I can use my grading tools and everything and edit this around. So here I'm going to like change some of this grading. So you can kind of see already how this workflow is really great because I'm adjusting this grading. I'm still seeing all my graded sizes off to the left. And now I can just select this medium size that I edited, simulate, and it will update. Like, how great is that? Look, and then you also saw in the 2D window that it updated there. And if I switch to my 3D window, it updates there too to be that medium size as well. It's like everything is one. I can also go into my simulate tool, my grade editor, and simulate all sizes at once, which is magical. Now, here's like a fun fact. This obviously will take longer than if you just selected your one size and simulated and updated that one size. So we do strongly suggest that you actually do just one size individually if you're going to edit one. But if you do decide to do a lot of edits to all of the sizes all at once, and you want to just simulate them all at once, we do give you that option. Just know it might take a little bit of time. Now, let's talk a little bit about this review editor layout. As you can still see, the sizing is up to the top. You can lock your aspect, unlock your aspect, change the pixels and everything here. You can also have horizontal or vertical views or wrapped. You can still have it a full screen, or you can just have it off to the side. I like it off to the side. As we've already talked about, you can simulate all of them together, but you can also simulate them individually. Really suggest that one. You can save. So I can just hit save all my images. I can lock them so that, or unlock them and everything, meaning like they're all moved together or I'll just move one individually. I can see all of the different texture options, as you all already know. And always, I can see all my different fit maps. That's great, my stress and strain maps. And I can adjust my avatar textures as well. Another really amazing key feature that we have in 7.1 is the roll up feature. So this is going to really help with styling. Before, you had to rely on fold angles and pins and stuff, but now we've got a tool that it's basically a few numbers that you input and it's done. We really gave you guys so many great features, I think, in 7.1. So now let's talk about how you can use this roll-up feature. Let's first talk about the pants here. So here I'm going to go to my trousers and I'm going to select them. First, I just want you all to notice the particle distance and the thickness collision. Right now it's 15 and 2.5. Just keep that in mind. So I'm going to go to my edit pattern tool, select both my front and back because they're going to fold together. And then just right click on that pattern outline, either front or back, it doesn't matter. And then there is a roll up option on that right click menu. This pop-up window will come up. I can go all the way up to 3 if I want, but I'm just going to do 2. And that means how many rolls I want. And then the distance is how wide I want each roll to be. So I'm going to input 30. Now that I have that all set, I'm then going to hit OK. Now, once loaded, you'll see that it has updated and then now I have the roll. You'll also see, though, that the particle distance, instead of 15, it's 10. And that is because it's trying to make it as stable as possible for this roll. And having it a low particle distance will help with that. The second thing it's going to do is change the additional thickness collision. So instead of 2.5, it's now 4. Again, to give more space between the pattern pieces so that it can stay stable. I'm going to simulate this to see how it looks and everything. Now, one thing to know, though, as you can probably see, is this does not recognize symmetry. So that is because this is to help styling, and not everything styled should be symmetrical. So I can now go to my other pant leg and repeat this process. Now, I can adjust the collision and everything so that it's a little less bulkier, but we do suggest you first simulate with the optimal stabilized version first. And then once that's simulated, you can then go in to maybe change the additional thickness collision, change the particle distance if you'd like, or anything there. But to first simulate how, like, the optimized, stable way, and then adjust. And that's the great roll-up feature. We have added in an option to auto-convert motion files, which will allow users to convert various motion files from external platforms into motion files for CLO avatars. Converted motions will all be compatible with all CLO avatars. Exciting. So first we're going to go to Avatar, and then Avatar Convert to Motion. Once that happens, it will then automatically switch you into the animation window, and this pop-up will automatically come up. Next, what you're going to have to do is select the gender that you wish to use for your motion, and then you're going to hit the open file, and there you can select your motion file from your computer. You'll then hit convert, and once this pop-up comes in, you can then hit close and hit play, and you can review your motion. You could have also just hit save as well, but I like to review it. Once you're all set, you can then just go to File, Save As, Motion, and then you can save this as your motion file. What's great is this is now compatible for all CLO avatars. So I could even use this as a kid avatar. So I can switch this up to a children's avatar. Hit OK. And now bring this motion file in for her. Pretty great, right? The animation editor UI has been improved to offer more user-friendly experience. If you are also familiar with Marvelous Designer, then you'll notice that they've kind of been merged to be the same. So on the left side, you'll see what 7.0 used to look like. And on the right side, you'll see the new 7.1. One of the big changes is that the animation editor writing has been taken off so that you can have more space and everything and see more of your animation tools and everything. Also, the sidebar has been added so that you can see the number of frames. This part displays the total frame number of the current animation editor. You can go from 10,000 to negative 10,000. And also, you'll find the start and end frames of the currently displayed range. So last but not least, though, you can go to your previous frame, and you can also go to your next frame as well. This will make trimming videos and everything a little bit easier, we hope. Yeah. So one really great update we've done is we've actually extended our registration options for avatars. So now, instead of just registering shoes and hair, you can now register glasses and earrings. More will come in later releases. Due to this, we've also changed the name to avatar accessories or register accessories here. So let's dive in on how we can do this. I have these glasses that I created here in CLO, and I'm going to export those as an FBX file. To do that, I'm going to select my avatar and delete it. Now I'm going to select my glasses, and I'm going to go to File, Export, FBX. I'm just walking you through how you can export and create within CLO so that if you want to create something in CLO and then register it, you can. So one really important thing is to name this as what it is. So these are glasses. If you're making sunglasses, regular glasses, any type of glasses, name it as glasses. If you're making earrings, name it as earrings. Make sure that title is within, that phrase is within the title. For this file, I found to make sure that I exported this as single object, thick texture, and unified UV, all were checked on. Now we can go ahead and start to register this accessory. So we'll go to Avatar, Register Accessories, easy peasy. Now we'll say that these are going to be glasses, so it knows where to place this object. So I'm going to say glasses, and then I'm going to go to that open folder and bring in the glasses that I just created as an FBX. I'll then hit create and title this. I'm going to title it as sunglasses and hit save. Now I can hit close or open that in a folder. I'm now going to bring in this project file that I've prepared and bring in that registered sunglasses that I just created. So here I have that, and I'm just going to quickly and easily bring this in by just double clicking. And now I have those sunglasses on my avatar. She's looking so cool. Now I use these exact same steps to actually create some earrings and register them. So I'm going to bring in those earrings. As you can see, they're registered on my avatar, and there they are. Easy. I can select these earrings and edit and adjust them within my property editor. I want to make it metal, maybe change the color, and anything like that. But it's as simple as that. We have added in a pose type within CLO that will allow you to adjust only your hands on avatars. This will be really helpful for accessories and styling, we think. Oh, great ad. So I'm going to go into my avatar, and then I'm going to go into female poses, and then hand poses. As you can see, there's a bunch of pre-created hand poses for you to use. I'm just going to double click on one, and in the drop down, I have a few options. I'm going to hit left hand. When I hit OK, I'll then have just my left hand adjust to this new pose. Next, I can just adjust my right hand. So I'm going to, again, just drag this in, do right hand, and then only my right hand will get adjusted. And then finally, I can bring in one more hand pose and just do both hands, and then hit OK. And now both of my hands are going to adjust. This option also works for just regular poses. So full body poses and stuff. So here I can select this, and in the drop down, I have full body, but I also have both hands, left hand and right hand. So if I select full body, I can then hit OK, and now the whole body will adjust along with the hands and everything. Or if I wanted to have just picked the hands, I could have just done that. Now, if you'd like to save a hand pose because you created an amazing one, you can then just go to File, Save As, Hand Pose. Then you can name your new hand pose and everything, and it will have a different file extension, as you can see. And it will also save in the hand pose library here. Within CLO 7.1, we are now updating our avatars to be more compatible between one another so that their assets can be used across all genders and ages. So this will include motion and pose files. So I'm going to demonstrate that here. So originally, for female poses, they could only be used on female avatars. So here I'm going to bring in a female pose on my female avatar. I can do another one here. And you can see that it works pretty easily as always. But now in 7.1, I can go to male poses and bring in a male pose on one of my female avatars. This will also work with animation and motion files. So here I can go into my animation mode. And now for kind of like gender neutral garments and creations, I can use maybe more of a feminine walking pose on a male, and it will work perfectly, as you can see. We are providing more individual sections within the avatar for users to be able to deactivate. And we're also making it so that you have the option of deactivating and hiding simultaneously. So here I can select this hair, right click, and deactivate it. Or I could select the hair, right click, and deactivate and hide the hair. This would be great for hoods and everything whenever you need to fit it, or stuff like that. Another great update is you can select just the arms, right click, deactivate those, and then I could simulate, and you'll see here how now the garment will simulate as if there aren't any arms at all. This could be really useful for if you ever need to drape, or if you want to get something that looks like this with mannequins where they don't have arms, but you want it styled like that, so there's a really sharp edge, and anything like that. I'm gonna hide my avatar right now, and you can even see here in my render window that I'll pull up how it would look simply like that. So now users can edit the avatar tape that they have put on their avatars. So it's going to be a little bit easier if you need to adjust something after you've already placed it. So here I'm going to go to my avatar tape here, place some avatar tape on my avatar. And now I can go to my edit avatar tape tool, and selecting the point, I can start to drag and move it around. As you can see, there's going to be like a preview of where it will move and everything. And I can just continue to edit this. This won't just work on straight lines. This will also work on circumferences as well. So the circumference tape as well. So here I can place my circumference tape here on my avatar. Great. And now I can again go to my edit avatar, and I can start to move this around. I'm going to zoom in just so you can see it a little bit better. But as you can see, I can move those points so that they're in a position that I might want them to be. So we have made it even easier to create using our parametric pattern tool. We've updated this a little bit more so that you have a few more features within parametric pattern so that it's even easier and more efficient. So first off, you can still open up parametric pattern through the editor tool at the top bar and parametric pattern. This will then bring in the parametric pattern window and replace the 3D window. You can flip between the two very easily, as always. And you can also pop out this window and you could put it in the center. I'm going to keep it though in my 3D window for right now. Now, one of the big updates we've done is you can now see the preview of your pattern. So I can just select this number here and you'll see that a preview has shown up right away. Look at that. So now whenever you edit or adjust these numbers, you'll see that the preview over there will show what you have adjusted. We hope this will make it easier for you to understand what these like measurements edit in the pattern and how they relate to the pattern. So you can keep learning and editing patterns quickly and easily within CLO. Another thing to know is if you ever go beyond the number limit within your parametric pattern, it will turn red and also the pattern will disappear. So just a fun fact. Now, while I'm going to keep playing around a little bit to edit my pattern so that you can see this and all of the great previews that you can now do, there is another update we've added in our parametric pattern, which I think is really great. You can now actually load and save CSV files. So at the very top here, I could save or load my CSV files. I could save these measurements that I just created here by just clicking save. And then I'll just have to name it and it will save it as my CSV file. This is a great way to create a template, I suggest. In fact, this is what all of your CSV files need to look like if you want to load it in. Please make sure it's the same type of template there. So if I hit load, it's going to even tell me, please make sure it follows the same template and the same file format as what we have here. And then I can just bring in my CSV file. So that way, if you already have the measurements you need and everything, it will load up and you'll also see that preview over here in my 2D window. It's all connected. So now I'm just going to add some half symmetry. I'm going to turn on my sleeves, add some symmetry there. Now, before I go to create, okay, right before, this is a fun thing. I'm going to make sure I have an avatar in my 3D window. Why, you may ask? Well, we made something to make your life so much easier in CLO that you're going to want to make sure that avatar is in the 3D window. So I'm going to move this now to the center so you can see this happen in real time. And you know that this is just magic. There's no like strings attached or anything. So here I have my pattern that I loaded in. I'm just going to edit the back neck drop. And now I'm going to hit create. So I'm going to select create, place this here. And did you see it? It automatically arranged and sewed the pattern in your 3D window. All you have to do is hit simulate and you're done. That was our final update to the parametric pattern for 7.1. I hope you like them. In 7.1, you now can add curve points by setting the distance, number, and number of divisions on a segment line, or also known as you can now split curve points, which is so great. It's very easy to do. So all you have to do is go over to your 2D toolbar and select the Edit Curve Point tool. Hover over the pattern outline you'd like to add your curve points to and right-click. The Split Curve pop-up window will come up and you'll have your three options as normal. Uniform split, allowing you to select the amount of segments you would like it to uniformly split in. Split in length, allowing you to select a length for a segment and the amount of segments you'd like, along with also being able to set the position of those ones. So you can do center, start, reverse, and then finally split as two lines. I'm going to do the uniform split and then hit OK. Now, again, using my Edit Curve Point tool, I can start to edit and adjust these curve points as I see fit. Another great update we've made for our 2D tools is the fact that now you can change lengths of multiple segments at once. So this is really great. It's very easy to do as well. Here I can go into my Edit Pattern tool, select my segment, hold down Shift, and then select the other segments as well. right click, and change length. Look at that. Now I can select what I'd like my total length of that whole line to be. This seems like a lot, but it's okay. And I can also decide on the distance. So I can do start, both, or end. I'm going to stick with both and maybe make this a little bit less. But that's all.
Now within CLO, if you need to split up your internal lines between pattern pieces because you have pockets or patches or anything like that, you now can. Going into my transform pattern, I'm going to clone this pattern piece as an internal shape and place it where I'd like it to be on my front pattern. I can then adjust and edit this shape around and then right click and say divide over seamline. This will then separate my internal line onto both pattern pieces. Please know though, this does not link the internal lines. So when I edit one side, it will not automatically edit the other. I can then sew and place this pocket onto my pants like so.
Within CLO 7.1, we have made a few changes to the POM tool. These changes are going to help keep the POM tool extremely accurate, give you better measurements, work better within the 2D window. A lot of great improvements for you all that we hope you're going to like. Unfortunately, though, with this update within CLO 7.1, a lot of restructuring was needed. So we do have one major call out to let you all know, and that is POMs created in later versions of CLO 7.0 and below will not be seen within CLO 7.1. We will be trying to improve this in future releases to accommodate for later versions, but currently none. So as you can see, I have POM saved from CLO 7.0. And when I open this same file in 7.1, there will even be a pop-up telling me this, but I will not see them appear here. I will see them though in the object browser when I go to POMs, but they won't be visible on my pattern. However, let's get to some positive news. So here, using my POM tool, one of the great updates is negate the measurement between darts. So here I can just click once and go all the way to the other side of my pattern, and you will see that it will exclude the measurement of those darts in the middle. Another POM update is we've updated where you can actually trace your POM. So now just using your edit pattern tool, you can select a pattern line, right click, and you'll see trace as POM option. No longer do you have to go to the trace tool. So when you trace it as a POM, it automatically links to that pattern. And then you can go to your edit POM tool, select that line, right click, and you see that there's a lot of different options. So now I could make it a straight measurement. I could do X or Y and all of that. Look at all those options. And I can go back to segment type, and then that will link it back. What's great about this is now when I move and adjust my pattern or anything, the POM will move and adjust with it as well, along with the measurement. So that is one really great update we've made. You also can use the POM tool as normal by just selecting one point, clicking and selecting and double clicking to end. You can then go to your edit POM tool and make it a segment type so that it links up to each other. And then again, you can keep switching and editing it around. Yeah. These are some really great updates. We were really happy to put them in. We hope you enjoy. A nice addition in 7.1 is that now you can see your graded pattern size in your property editor. So, and you can see all of your sizes, your size run, and also you can switch between the sizes within your property editor. So that's really easy to do. First, I'm just going to turn on my grading. You can do this with or without that grading turned on in your 2D window, but just so you can see it a little bit more easily. Then with your transform pattern tool, I can just select a pattern. And in my information down below, I can then go into my grading section. First, you'll see that which size run it's part of over here. But then when I drop down, you'll then see which base size I'm on. You can then use the drop down here and change between the different sizes, which is really great. Also, when I go into my grading tab here, you'll see that it changes there as well. And you'll also see the graded size name here. So here I deleted that. And if I select that here, you'll see that the update's there as well. Again, all connected, right? And I can keep switching between the different sizes, and you'll see that that'll actually update within my grading tab as well, along with the 2D window. Look at all that. It also updates in my 3D window as well. So pretty great. Now in 7.1, another update with grading is you can now select multiple graded points at once using all of the grading tools. So winning. Here we can go through that right now. You can just simply go into one of your edit grading, either your edit grading each tool, edit grading tool, edit grading curve tool, any of those, and select that. And then once you've selected one of your grading tools, you can then start to just select all the points. So I can hold down shift and start to select multiple points. I can select multiple points of multiple sizes. I can select multiple points within one size. I can just select as many points as I want right now. But make sure that it makes sense for when you're actually going to edit the grading. We think this will help your workflow go a lot faster. And as I also already mentioned, it will also work with your grading curve tool as well, but let's just see this happen. So I'm going to switch to my edit grading curve tool, and here I can select those curve points as well, holding down shift, and start to move those around. Pretty great. We have included AVS file sizes for avatars when pairing avatars for grading. So this is a great addition, and it's super easy to do. All you have to do is go into your grading tab here, and now I can go to pair avatar. And the steps are very similar to just pairing an avatar. So I'm going to hit update. You can see I have all the avatars here and everything. But now when I go to the pair avatar button, I have pair avatar, which I would normally use, or I can now use AVS avatar size. And so I can select that and then bring in a AVS size. So all of those avatar sizes I can just bring in and everything and load those in fairly quickly and easily, as you can see. And all set. Now, if you guys all remember, we have this new review editor. And so now I can pull that up, just hit simulate all sizes, and then look at that. I have all my sizes simulated, and I can view them all and review them all at once. A long-awaited update is now within CLO 7.1. Users are now able to adjust style line edits using precision boxes. So here I'm going to do this first with the edit style line tool. I'm going to now select my edit point, try to move this, right click, precision box, and type in my number that I'd like it to move. I can also do this with my move style line tool. You can select again the line, drag, right click while dragging, input the number that I'd like to move it, and also the style scale one. And again, select a line, drag, right click, and enter the desired length and value. Know that if you enter a positive amount, it will get bigger, negative amount will get smaller, and you can see the change in your 2D window. We have added to our select mesh brush tool partial strength. So now using our mesh tools, you can add partial strength to certain parts of your garment. So I can go to my select mesh tool using brush and select a certain section of my garment. I can change around the size of this and then select a certain area here, then right click and strengthen. So simple. I can then unstrengthen all, and I can do the same for my lasso tool here. And again, right click and strengthen. And I can also do the same for my select mesh tool. So I'm just going to unstrengthen, and then with my box tool, select, and then I can strengthen. And then also I can adjust the strength here. So I can increase the strength all the way up to 100. I can decrease it as well. I'm going to keep it at 70. And now I can just simulate. And you'll see my garment adjust to the strengthening. In CLO 7.1, you can now express different types of seams. So this is going to help provide more realism to seam lines and more information about seams to users. That's our hope. So here I'm going to zoom in on my armhole section. And now what I'm going to do is go to my edit sewing tool. So once I've selected my sewing lines here, you'll then go into the property editor. So, and then there is 3D Seamline. So now if I go over to the drop down, you'll see that there's a plain seam, which is what the default will be. And now I also have a directional option. I'm going to select the directional option, and underneath that, then there's a placement option. So there I can decide where I'd like the direction of the seam to be placed. So you can either do A or B. So I'm going to stick with A. And now you can see the change here in my 3D window. Now, within CLO, you will be able to adjust the sewing tension. You can easily make it so that smaller pattern pieces, like a neckband or binding, can stretch out to a neck opening, or larger patterns, like a sleeve, can ease in to an armhole. Pretty great, right? So here I have my neckband, and as you can see, my neckband is a little bit smaller than my neck opening. And what I'm going to do is I'm first going to simulate this so that you can see the neck scrunch up into that neckband. Now, with using my sewing tool here, my edit sewing tool, I'm going to select those sewing lines and turn on tension. Now, once I've turned on tension, I can either go to ease or stretch. I want stretch. And I'm going to have my ratio at 100 first and then turn on my simulation. As you can see, my neck started to relax a little bit and open up to that original position. And I can move this down, and you can even see that it moves down easily. I can go back to my edit sewing here and adjust the ratio as well. So if I make the ratio larger, it'll stretch out even more, and the same in reverse. So I can select my sewing and make it smaller, and then it will actually make it so that it's less stretchy and goes back in. Now let's check out ease. So now I'm going to select my armhole and turn on my tension, and here I have ease. And I'm going to again start this at 100 ratio. I can then simulate, and you'll start to see that my sleeve starts to ease in. I can again change the ratio here. If I make it bigger, then my sleeve will actually start to stretch out. But if I make it smaller, then it will start to ease in more. And that's it. Now within 7.1, it's possible to create top stitches using custom OBJs. So this is going to really help with realism, we hope, and let's dive on in. So I'm going to go into my Topstitch tab in my object browser, select my Topstitch. I've already applied a Topstitch onto my bag here. And now I'm going to go into my property editor and hit this little plus button from the shape line. Now this pop-up is going to come up, and the first section I have is the basic. So here I can decide the scale in which I want to bring in my OBJ, and then I also can decide the axis conversion. Now this is actually important depending on the software you use to create your OBJ. You might need to adjust this axis or direction or anything. Then in the file section, you can use the open with icon and bring in your custom OBJ there. And you can continue to edit the length or width of your OBJ along with the spacing as well, which is really great. And then you'll see off to the side, once you've brought it in, the little preview, and you'll also see it update and adjust based off of the changes you make to length, width, or spacing. Once you're happy, you can then hit OK, and then it will bring it into your workspace. Really great, right? I can continue to edit and adjust this around. I can add in colors or anything, change the type, and all of that. So now we've updated our Topstitch tool also to improve the curves and to make them a little bit smoother and everything. So here I'm just going to apply a Topstitch onto my garment. And if I zoom in, you can start to see that at the top, it gets a little bit broken up. We fixed this. So now what you can do is when you select your Topstitch, there's an option of smooth. If you check that on, it will then smooth it out and extend it so that it's nice and smooth. We have made an improvement within puckering, much like with our top stitching. As you can see in later versions of clothes, certain parts of the puckering would become overlapped or cut apart. Now in 7.1, we have rectified this. So it's a little bit smoother and everything. So if I apply my puckering just like I would normally, what you'll automatically see actually is that now the motif and that puckering doesn't get cut up. It stays smooth and everything. And you don't need to check anything off or change that at all. We have updated the zipper and puller to allow users to add different colors and material types within. So, giving you all some more control, you know? Now, if I select my zipper puller and I can double click and then select just the bottom part, of my puller, I can now change just that bottom part puller color, like so. I can zoom in, and again, I'll select once, double click, and as you just keep clicking, you can keep narrowing down on that selection. And then again, I can change out that fabric type, material type. I can change the color. I can change a whole bunch of things. And so that now every single section is its own unique property. Now, CLO is able to automatically create patterns within the print layout mode when using the binding tool. So we hope that with this addition, it will help you all in pricing and production needs for all of our CLO users. So it's very simple. All you're going to do is go into your binding tool here and then apply binding to your garment as normal. So again, you can apply binding in both the 3D and 2D window. I personally like applying it in the 2D window, just a little bit easier for me. And now that I've applied binding, I'll see that appear in both my 3D and in my 2D window as well. I can simulate and see it adjust and everything. Now, when I go into my print layout mode, I'll then see that pattern automatically created within it. We wanted to help clean up our users' workspace a little. And through that, we have started to remove some unused material. Now, when you go into your pattern, into your 2D window, and you select name under the eye icon, you'll see that button names are no longer visible. To give our users more information and allow you to have more accurate information about trims, we have now added a composition information in the property editor for trims as well. So it's very simple to find. Just select your trim, and then under in the property editor, you can then see composition and start to write in that composition for the trim. Nice, right? We have now made adjusting normal maps for graphics even easier than ever. Within 7.1, now you will be able to edit the normal maps the same way you can with fabrics. So when having a graphic like this, or a print artwork or anything, you can now go in to that graphic style, select it, and in the normal map, you'll see that there's now a transform option. You can drop that down and change the size, width, and everything, just like you can with fabrics. It's a great addition, and we think it'll be really helpful to, again, keep that realism within CLO. We have made a few more updates with our multi-texture editor within 7.1. These updates include faster speeds, multiple selections, multiple loading, and just a little bit ease of use updates. So let's get into it. As you all know, to bring in your multi-texture editor, all you have to do is go into your fabric, and you can then select the multi-texture editor icon. Now you can drag and drop artwork into your layer section, and now you can right click and say fit to canvas. So this is really great because then what will happen is your canvas will resize to fit to that new artwork. It'll be really helpful because then you can tile things easier, adjust your artwork faster and everything. And what's nice is you can then continue to edit and adjust that artwork as you normally would with the multi-texture editor. Another update we have is bringing in Illustrator files. Here I can go to add and bring in some Illustrator files. And now I can bring in multiple at once. So I can bring in multiple layers or multiple artboards all at once. And then I can just hit OK. And now all 3 of those will load at once for me. Pretty great. I can then continue to resize them, adjust them, move them around, hide one, or anything. Another great thing that I can do is I can select multiple at once while holding down Control. When multiple are selected, I can then edit them together, as I'm doing right now. And another great thing is, as you can probably see, is the real-time updates in your 3D window are even faster than before. So we really have worked on improving the speed here and making sure that the changes that you make in your multi-texture editor immediately show up in your 3D window, and everything just moves a little bit faster for you. Users will now have the ability to keep their color window open while editing and adjusting within CLO. So here I'm going to go to my fabric and open up my color palette window. And now what I can do is adjust and change these colors and just hit apply. And then my window will stay open and I can go to another fabric, change out to a different color, hit apply again, keeping this window open, allowing me to go to other fabrics, applying. And once I'm ready to actually close out that window, I just have to hit done. But I also can use this for even trims like the zipper tape. I can select the zipper tape, change out the color, apply. I could then just go to the singular, just the tape instead of the teeth. Again, apply a different color. And then once finished, just hit done and the window will close. Now in our Colorway editor, you can minimize sections within it. So this is going to be really great. I'm going to go into my editor and open up my Colorway. And as you can see on the sections and everything off to the side, there's little arrows. They're all pointing up. That means they're showing all of the information that each section has. If I click on the arrow, it will then point down and only the first line will show. Condensing that space a little bit so that you can only see what you need to see at that moment. We have updated our UI within the object browser to provide users with ways to organize and prioritize their fabrics. Now, because you gotta stay organized. So let's start off with this top section. First, here you have the new folder button, which will open up new folders. You also will still have the add, which will add in new fabrics, copy, which will copy the fabric that's selected, and assign, which will assign the selected fabric to selected patterns. Now, let's go into creating folders. If you go into the open folder here button, you can easily add in and create folders by just clicking on it. And all the way off to the left side is the edit folder. So here you can actually edit that folder's name to be anything you want it to be, which is great. You can also hide and show all of this stuff, all of your fabrics and everything within each folder. That is right next to the edit button. So here I'll do it at the top and you can see that all of your fabrics are now hidden or shown. Pretty great. Now, let's talk about adding fabrics within the folder. So all the way off to the right, you have the add, which will add in new fabrics within the folder, as you can see. And then you have open. This will open up your computer files to allow you to bring in fabrics from anywhere in your computer. Pretty great. And I'll just do that one more time. So it doesn't have to be the CLO default fabrics. It could be any fabrics that you have stored within your computer at all. Then finally, you have delete. This will then delete that folder, and then all the fabrics will then move up to the first folder at the top. You can also drag and drop fabrics to other folders. So here I can just like drag and drop these bottom fabrics into the bottom folder. But one thing to know is if you right click, you actually have options for dragging and dropping. So the default is drop and move. And that means when you drag and drop, it moves the fabric. We also have the right click, drop and link, and that then links the two fabrics. So what happens to one fabric will also happen to the other. So here I can change the fabric of this one, and it will affect the other. An improvement has been made for the import as trim. Now, when you import as an FBX with matte shapes, they will be combined in version 7.1. So as you can see in 7.0, they're separated. If I go into my scene tab, I have two separate trims actually. But in 7.1, they're just one trim, but I can still select them separately. In 7.1, you now can add in a mix map to our avatars in skin. So all you have to do is go into type, skin, and then in subsurface scattering, there is now a mix map option that you can bring in. And really what this does is it just helps improve realism, especially when it comes to lighting and everything. So here I'm actually going to open up my render window and bring in some light. And you can actually see the difference a bit here. So now with my mix map, I can adjust it a bit and add more or less. And you can see when I have less, you didn't really see that like color coming through a bit. When I increase it, especially at the ears, you can start to see that. And you can play around with the different values and everything there. We have made some updates to our render window within CLO, also with our UI and presets. So let's go through some of these great updates that we have and everything. First off, we're going to go to our lighting setting, and over here you'll see that we have some presets. If you use this drop down, you'll see that we've added 9 more presets within CLO, making it a total of 20 presets for our users to have and use. Pretty great. And what's really nice is you can just hover over and see previews for all of these lightings, which is even better. You can then select any of the lightings that you like or want by just clicking on any one of them. And also you can continue to edit these presets around. So if I select this, I can keep going and like change the intensity, or if I wanted to, I could change the color or anything like that, which then leads us to our next great update, which is the ability to now reset our lighting. So as stated, you can adjust the intensity here and you can change all of this stuff around. But let's say you don't like what you've done. You can just easily go all the way up to the top and select reset. And then that will reset back to the original preset that you had. Pretty great, right? Another update we've done is to our UIs. So now you can see the lighting that we've used. You'll have like a little icon next to that lighting. So you can even see it here with the dome light. There's a little icon that shows like a dome and light coming out of it. that happens for now all of our lights. We thought this would be nice for users to kind of understand, like, oh, this is what the light would do and everything at a quick glance. And that brings us to one of our final updates for our render window. So you can turn on the lighting, you can activate it and deactivate it using this light bulb here. You can also show it in your 3D window here using this little icon, and that will show it in your 3D window, as you can see. And you can do the same in your render window. So using this icon here, you can show that light in your render window as well. So you can show and hide all of your lighting in your 3D and render window, and you can activate the lighting and deactivate it all. Great, right? Thank you all for watching this webinar. Please like and subscribe to this channel. We have so many great videos on our CLO channel to help you out. It's all free. It's all accessible to you all. And again, there's always going to be a CLO team member who will help answer any of your questions that you write in your comments. We always try to be there for all of our users as much as possible. Thanks again, and I hope some of you, or if not all of you, have learned something that makes you want to jump into CLO 7.1 soon. Thanks again.